Welcome to Headlines and History, live news reactions and your views. We're about to go live soon, so grab your spot and get ready for a sharp, balanced take on today's biggest news stories with a dash of historical insight. Stay tuned. Each week, we tackle the headlines that matter: politics, economics, global events with a balanced lens. We'll react live, tie today's stories to historical moments, and spotlight your views in the chat. From trade talks echoing the 1990s to crises recalling 2008, we're here to unpack it all. Your voice drives the show. Share your thoughts or historical parallels in the live chat, and we'll dive into the best ones. It's news, context, and community all in 1 hour. We're moments away from launching Headlines and History. Stick around for live reactions, historical nuggets, and your chance to chime in. Hit the notification bell, prep your comments, and let's make sense of the news together. See you soon. All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about America's involvement in the Nigerian situation. Yesterday we had a conversation. It was lengthy, and one of the things that we got to talking about was the fact that the American government, hold on. We mentioned the fact that the American government, at some point in the early days of the Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria, had kind of withheld approval for the Nigerian government to get arms in order to defend itself. Yesterday, President Trump released an announcement. The announcement was that he had his eye on Nigeria. We're going to watch the video, and please let me know your thoughts in the chat, because this is a volatile situation. A lot of people are for it, and some people are against it. We're going to be looking at both sides, and I'll be engaging you in the chat and in the comment section as well. So please let your thoughts come in. If you're interested in joining the call-in feature, remember you can only do that as a member of the channel, so consider becoming a member so that you can get invited to come on and to give your voice to the reviews that we're having here on the show. And please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the chat. Now let's watch this announcement on Fox News, and then we can begin the story that way. All right, so usually we don't live stream on Sundays, but recently I found that when things happen, I have to do a live stream about the story before the following day, because the following day it would have cooled and it wouldn't mean anything to you. So let's talk about this developing story as we dive into it today. So let's jump right in.
President Trump is taking action in response to the killing of thousands of Christians in Nigeria. President Trump vowing possible sanctions and saying on Truth Social, quote, "Radical Islamists are responsible for the mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of, quote, particular concern," and entrusting Congressman Riley Moore and other lawmakers to immediately look into this report and report back to me. West Virginia Representative Riley Moore joins us now. Congressman, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your continued efforts in bringing attention to this matter. I'm going to say what's going on there, and I know it's tough, but people need to hear it. Christians are being macheted, burned alive. They're being forced to, dig their own graves before they're buried alive. They're being raped. They're being killed. They're being starved. Why have we not been hearing more about this?
Well, Rachel, the mainstream media has just turned a blind eye to this, but this network specifically has been giving me and others a platform to actually talk about that. So I do really want to thank you so much for doing that and highlighting it, because it has made a difference. We're talking about between 50,000 and 100,000 Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria since 2009. And we did have a designation on them in the first Trump administration as a country of particular concern. The Biden administration took that off because the killing, according to them, was happening because of land disputes, and climate change was the culprit in this, which it's hard to believe that that's even a justification. This is a genocide that's been going on by Islamic terrorist organizations. This designation by President Trump, and I just want to take 2 seconds. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so very much, because this is going to end up saving lives. Thank you for this designation. And I think this is going to make a huge difference. And we're going to get right to work on this and get to the bottom of what's happening and give President Trump a full menu of options that we can use to try to stop these killings.
So what does the designation do exactly?
Well, this designation opens up a menu of 15 types of different options the president can use. One in particular is the suspension and prohibition of security assistance, which we have been doing security assistance with the Nigerian government. And that was a promise that they were going to receive arms and training from the United States to go kill and stop Boko Haram. They have not been doing that. They have not been stopping these Islamic terrorists. And in my view, have been collaborating and coordinating, and at least, at minimum, have just been turning a blind eye to it.
Yeah, so I need to respond to that. I'll call it an allegation, but many Nigerians feel that there is merit to this accusation, because in spite of all of the aid and support that is being received from the American government, how come we have hundreds and hundreds of deaths still happening in the places where the Nigerian government knows that Boko Haram attacks frequently? So that's something that I want you to take note of.
In Nigeria. So now that's going to stop. But this menu of options also includes the ability of the administration now to use targeted sanctions against entities within Nigeria itself, suspend economic cooperation. There's a whole list of options in here that I think is really going to have a dramatic effect in reducing the killings in Nigeria.
Yeah, every pastor, every priest, including the Pope, this should be the #1 issue for every Christian leader in America. I think members of Congress should go and visit. They go to Switzerland. They go to all kinds of places. Let's go. Let's see. Let's meet with the victims. Let's make it real if we really want to do something about it. You were part of a very wonderful CPAC Christian Persecution Summit that brought faith leaders together to talk about how we can fix this situation through policy and awareness. Just wanted to give you a last word on how that went, because I know you were part of it.
Yes, and I want to thank Matt Schlapp, Mercedes Schlapp.
All right, if you permit me, I'll be moving on because the topic has changed and I value your time. So the American government, President Trump, has said that they are paying attention to what's going on in Nigeria. Now, President Trump released a truth post. I'm going to read it out. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. I'm going to read it out from my phone. This is Sunday, and I wasn't like in full production mode, but this is important. Today is Sunday. There are Christians all over the world who have the privilege of going to worship without fear of being attacked. But in certain countries like Nigeria, you have these incidents. It's been happening since 2009. I lived in Nigeria up until 3 years ago. It was regular. We had Christians raising the alarm that this was happening since 2009. So it's not something new. We've had the demonstrations or protests in Europe and in North America about free Palestine. Nigeria has been going through an insurgency. Churches have been burned for years, and there hasn't been one protest, to my knowledge, on the streets of Europe or in North America, by people who are not Nigerian, because I know that Christians have talked about this for a long time. So here's President Trump. He wrote this truth yesterday. If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action If we attack, it will be fast, furious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast. Now, I'm going to play a video later of another Nigerian creator. She has a bigger platform than I do, more subscribers than I do, but you'll tell me what you think of her take. I'll tell you what I think, and then you tell me what you think of her take. Yes, I'm seeing the comments. Okay, so let me respond to let me respond to the comments. Okay, so before I play the next video, because I don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you. All right. Canary King says, "How are you? I am doing great." All right. Now, if you're watching, this is a live broadcast, and you can jump into the chat and ask me questions and make your comments, and I will respond to your comments in the chat. All right. Now, Canary King says, Biden and Obama were complicit. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to read out some of the things that because I did some research. There were things that were happening in Nigeria while I lived there. There are things we know because we lived through this. And I'm going to say some things. I'm going to fact check a few of those things along with you. And then I need you to give me your thoughts, please. I really want to hear your thoughts on the matter. Okay. Well, I seem fired up. Yes, I am. I avoid talking about Nigeria. If you've watched my live stream, I barely talk about Nigeria because it hurts to talk about Nigeria. It does. And whenever I do, I have to restrain myself because I am angry at the leaders that we've had for over 50 years that have pillaged the country and have confined the people to poverty. I am enraged at the locals, citizens like me, who allow it to happen, and then the international community continues to provide sanctuary for the families who loot the country or the continent and run over there to spend the money. So it's very hurtful, and when I talk about it, it hurts. And I'm a Christian, and I know that these things happened. So it's painful to talk about it, and sometimes I just kind of lock it away at the back of my mind. I don't want to think about it because it is that painful. All right, so please send in your comments in the chat. I would love to, engage with you. Don't shy away from giving me your thoughts. Just let me know what you think. Now, this is a video that showed up on social media a couple of weeks back or a few days ago. And so all right, so let me play this video. I'm going to get to the chat, okay? I don't want to live in the chat. You guys came here to watch the breakdown of this report about Trump saying that he's issuing these warnings to Nigeria. Let's look at what's actually going on. Now, this is a video here about this is a mass burial. This happened just a few days ago. Please, so watch this and let me know what you think.
We are tired to be outside performing burial every day, and they expect us to silence. Now it's an order. Nigeria. All
right, so here's the background. This is a pastor in Nigeria. He's standing inside of a mass grave. This is one of the mass graves that we're going to look at. There's a second one that I'll play after this. The video has been edited to edit out the dead bodies. The white bit that you're seeing on the video has dead bodies there. So it's been edited out so that it doesn't get flagged on platforms like YouTube. The pastor is conducting a mass funeral for people who were slaughtered by terrorists. Okay, these are Christians. The churches are either attacked and burnt down, and Christians who are fleeing the flames get gunned down, or communities that are largely Christian are invaded in the dead of night. Their daughters are kidnapped, the men are killed, the women are assaulted, children are carried off to slavery. This is happening regularly in northern Nigeria. So that's the background of this video.
The government came out openly and denied there is no massacre. There is no genocide of.
So he's saying, now for those of you who don't understand what he's saying that the Nigerian government has come out to say that there is no genocide happening in Nigeria. That is the talking point of the Nigerian government. But this is a pastor standing in a mass grave. So is the mass grave made up?
Of Christians in Nigeria, and look at it today. Is there any Muslim here?
So he's asking, is there any Muslim in that mass grave? Because they claim that it is a conflict between Christians and Muslims, but there's not one casualty on the Muslim side. Because it's not a conflict, it's an attack on Christians while they're asleep, while they're at worship. It's not a fight, it's a genocide.
United Nations, I know you're watching it.
He's calling on the United Nations.
Senate.
He's calling on the American Senate.
I'm saying here. Special advisor to Trump. Now, please tell Trump to save our life.
So he's calling on the Senate to tell Trump to save the lives of Nigerian Christians. I need to interpret it because sometimes it's hard for people who aren't accustomed to the accent to understand what's being said. So bear with me.
In Nigeria, they are killing Christians in Nigeria.
They are killing Christians in Nigeria.
They say they kill Muslims. Muslims are being killed by who?
So he's asking, if they say that they are killing Muslims, who's killing the Muslims?
By Muslims.
So he says, if there's ever a case where Muslims are being killed, it's Muslims killing other Muslims. That's what he's saying. Now, this is a pastor in northern Nigeria. He is from the north. He is not from a different part of the country trying to impose Christian values on northern Nigeria. So you need to understand the background of, about how this works. So here's another video. This is a mass burial happening. All right. So you can see the coffins of different sizes. All right. So this is happening in Nigeria. All right. So let's get into the chat. I'm going to move away from this. So I try to avoid. I'm going to move away from this. I try to avoid talking about Nigeria because it is this painful. There are countries out there where the government really doesn't care about the people. They don't even, they're not even afraid of being voted out of office because all the elections are rigged. All of them are rigged. So they do as they please, and they allow violence against people that they feel don't have a voice. Now the American government is stepping up to say there's something going on in Nigeria, and now we have our eye on Nigeria. Now, comment section. Though, as you may know, I don't usually like foreign adventures, and I know. And honestly, to be honest, I'm conflicted. All right, guys, I am conflicted because I don't like other countries inserting themselves in the affairs of different countries. I wish that there was a way for the thing going on in northern Nigeria to be resolved without any intervention from a foreign power like Nigeria. I wish that was the case. But this is how the politics in Nigeria works. The people can't vote these guys out because everything is rigged. So let me know in the chat if there is a country where the people are helpless to get the country in order because a handful of people in power have, first of all, removed their ability to have free and fair elections. I've told the story about how 9-year-olds were voting in northern Nigeria to get one candidate into office. Rigging is a way of life there. Okay. And then you have the people in Nigeria. We don't have a Second Amendment in Nigeria. In the 70s, the government stripped the Nigerian people of their weapons. There's no ability to defend yourself if criminals come out against you and you're in the middle of nowhere. You don't have the right to keep and bear arms. So you are a sitting duck to anyone who happens to want to rob you. In Nigeria, there are cases where the robbers and the thieves borrow guns from law enforcement. If you don't believe me, go on Twitter, go on X, just do a search, and you'll find these conversations happening. Now, all of this said, all right, I am a Nigerian. I know about these things. I've attended Christian conferences while in Nigeria where people who have gone through these attacks have spoken. And I had a relative who used to live in northern Nigeria, and occasionally he would show up at our doorstep. We lived in the southwestern part of the country, in the nation's capital at the time. And one morning he would just show up at our doorstep. What happened? Well, we had to flee because they started burning our businesses and burning our homes. And you know what? It was regular. We knew that it happened regularly. From the 60s, it's been happening. But this is wholesale genocide now. Now, I'm speaking as a Nigerian. All right. I'm speaking as a Nigerian. Please keep the comments coming. Okay, I will respond. Now, I'm going to play another video, but let me take the comments in the comment section. All right. Now, Canary King says he doesn't support foreign adventures, but in this case, I don't know if you're saying you're willing to make an exception. Now, if you're watching, I can see a handful of you are watching. Please let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, Truth. Yeah, thanks for jumping on, Truth. Thank you for now. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. We're going to have a conversation, and I'll let you know my thoughts. Look, I've already told you I am conflicted, and I'll tell you how I think this will play out if the American government doesn't do anything. I've been on live streams where I've said, look, I agree that the American government should not insert itself into foreign affairs, but if the United States doesn't do that, it gives a green light to bad actors all over the world, telling them that they can do whatever they like without consequence. All right. Now, yeah. So in this case, you said that Biden, Hillary, and Obama created such a monster. They did. And I'll tell you what happened, at least from what I understand. Remember, I live in North America now. The only reason why I don't talk about Nigerian politics is my audience is largely from the United States, right? Americans don't care about what's going on in Nigeria, and I understand it. The only reason why this is coming up right now is that Trump has spoken up. And I know that a bunch of you have your opinions. Let's talk about it. And if the United States says nothing about this genocide after today, then fine. Right. So I have Truth saying the West should mind their business. All right. So there's the statement, Western countries mind your business. But there's the problem. People are getting slaughtered. Christians are getting slaughtered in Nigeria. The Nigerians don't have the ability to defend themselves. can you recommend a solution? It's not good enough to just say the West should mind their own business. Do you have a solution to the problem at hand? If you have a solution, then let's hear it. Because already we know that the Nigerian government essentially does not care what happens to the people. And I'm not speaking as someone who has never lived in Nigeria. I lived there for over 45 years. So I know what I'm talking about. The problem we're facing here is you have helpless Christians being slaughtered. We've seen 2 videos of mass graves. And according to records, we're told that 50,000 Christians have been killed between 2009 and date. I have another video that I forgot to cue of a lawmaker or someone in Nigeria. He's not a lawmaker, but someone in Nigeria was saying that it's over 500,000. Well, I don't want to play that video because it's unverified. But do you know what? Some people tend to believe that number because we don't keep accurate records in Nigeria, especially when those records make us look bad. Okay, so it might be more than 50,000 Nigerians slaughtered between 2009 and date. In the chat, I see in the chat, Intergalactic Wrangler says, this stuff can't keep going on. I agree. But you see, now let's share our ideas. Let's share our ideas. Because my question is, what's the solution if the United States or the West should not get involved? I'm waiting for Truth to give us a breakdown of their solution to this issue. I would love to see their solution to this issue. Then, if the United States is going to get involved, we've already heard what they're trying to do. They're withdrawing aid, military aid and financial aid from the Nigerian government. And there have been threats to go in swiftly to deal with the issue. Now, before I go on, Truth is trying to give her points, but she put in just one word. I'm waiting for her to kind of, I think it's a her, to kind of itemize the solution. Now, everyone else who's putting in their answers in the chat, I'm going to go through your chat, but I want to play this video by another Nigerian creator. The reason why I want to play this video is I kind of saw the captions that were going through her video, and I just felt like it's a short video. So I felt, okay, let me listen to what she has to say along with all of you, and then I'll give you my reaction to her comments. All right, so I hope you don't mind.
Hi guys, so Trump says that he might go into Nigeria, gun a-blazing, to wipe out terrorists and save Christians. And I see that some Nigerians are celebrating.
Of course, I'm in support of stopping all aid. Like, seriously, why are we still collecting aid at this age? But
some people are saying, well, he's not going to invade Nigeria. It won't be an attack. It won't be an invasion, just because of the way he put it, that he will be quick and sweet. But this man said that he's instructing the Department of War to prepare for possible action. And then he said, if we attack, it will be fast, it will be vicious, it will be sweet. Okay, I know that a lot of Nigerians are in love with Trump. But guys, history shows that help by invasion often make things worse, not better. I'm really hoping that he won't go through, because I'm really hoping that he wouldn't. Because going by history, for example, in 2001, when the US wanted to invade Afghanistan, they said that it would be quick. They said that it would be a quick, decisive military action to topple.
All right, so I want to point out several things. I'm going to just cut in. First off, a lot of Nigerians love Trump, yes, because of his policies. Trump has never promised Nigerians that he was going to come and make our lives better. He never did. The reason why a lot of Nigerians love Trump is that he's showing the Nigerian government and other leaders around the world how to lead in a way that is to the advantage of your own people. All right, so that's why we we love him. I love his policies. I like the guy. Right? I wouldn't say I wouldn't go as far as saying that I'm in love with Trump. Okay. Now, the second thing is trying to put the Taliban invasion of Afghanistan side by side with this is wrong, because one, the American invasion of Afghanistan to unseat Al Qaeda involved removing the government, the Taliban government, from office. What I see from Trump's truth is that it is a targeted strike against the terrorist strongholds. Do you know, the Nigerian government knows where these guys are. The American government know where these people are. So how come they haven't struck at the heart of their operations? These are questions that we've been asking for years. We never got an answer. At the end of this, remind me in the chat to tell you about one time when I had a neighbor who was a colonel in the military, and he used his posting was at the war front. Remind me in the chat in case I forget. If you don't remind me, I might forget and not tell the story. But let's keep going. Remember, keep the chat coming. I'm going to respond to all of your messages in the chat.
Toppled the Taliban, dismantled Al Qaeda. It ended up being 2 decades of war with more than 200,000 people killed.
And that was
because
when
the U.S. invaded Iraq to topple Saddam Hussein.
They are not the same. These are not the same situations. He's not going in to topple the Nigerian government. There will be a targeted strike at the terrorist locations. The American government knows where they are. It's highly possible that they've shared this information with the Nigerian government, and they've supplied the Nigerian government with the weapons to go in and wipe these guys out. But the Nigerian government has done nothing. Now, the questions of very intelligent people is, if you know where these people are, if you have the weapons to go in and wipe them out, how come you've not done so? The answer that comes back again and again is, these people are in league with the terrorists. So that's where we are right now. So what she's saying, she's making sense if the situation was the same, but it's not. Afghanistan and Iraq, 2 different things from what Trump is talking about with Nigeria.
They said that it would be quick, but guess what? State institutions collapsed. There was huge civilian casualty and years of insurgency. The death toll is estimated to be 150,000, and then the power vacuum created the conditions for new terrorist groups to grow. And she's
afraid that Trump is threatening to do a regime change. And I would say, I don't think that's what he's planning. Let me know in the chat if that's what you're picking up to, and let's have a conversation about it.
And that's how ISIS started. And then in Libya, they went in, they removed Gaddafi, but there's no more stable government in Libya. Libya fractured into rival militias and became a hub for smuggling and violence.
Okay, so she's using the track record of different types of let me call them U.S. actions on different countries. These were regime change actions. This is not what Trump is talking about. 2, the presidents that ran this, totally different. Trump has not done any regime change, not in his first term, and he's not planning to do any in his second term. He had the perfect opportunity to do that with Iran when he knocked out the nuclear program. He did. Did he? No, he didn't. He had all the excuses in the world to do so. They were firing drones into Israel. They were funding Hamas and Hezbollah. It was very clear that the opportunity was, was there. The excuse was there. But did he do that? He didn't. So I don't think her fears are well founded. Let me know in the chat if you agree.
Violence. Even the Somalia mission in the 90s, they called it Operation Restore Hope. When the U.S. went in there, it began as a humanitarian mission to provide famine relief. amid a civil war.
In fact, they said it would take 30 to 45 minutes.
But it soon evolved into a more aggressive state-building and counterterrorism effort, which eventually led to the disastrous Battle of Mogadishu in October of 1993. And the thing is...
All right. I think it's safe for us to stop her video at this point because her premise is based on the wrong scenarios. So unless you guys ask me to continue playing her video, unless you want me to keep playing her video, I don't think it's going to help our conversation much. All right, so let me see. So I'm going to go back into the chat. The last message that, yeah, so Intergalactic said this stuff can't keep going on. And then Canary King says, yes, truth, I'm usually against foreign adventures, but Obama, Hillary, and Biden created this mess. They should have minded their business then. I agree. So when the insurgency was still very young, back in 2009, people claimed that the way the Nigerian government handled the Boko Haram sect at the time, it was a small sect, a small movement until the police arrested the leader of the sect and he died in custody. This happens routinely. So whenever someone gets arrested by the police and is someone that the government doesn't like, sometimes the people just die in custody. And that happened in 2009. And it radicalized the movement to become more militant. And that's how they were mentored by ISIS and they became what we see today. During the Goodluck Jonathan administration, Goodluck Jonathan was trying to arm the soldiers to go in to wipe out the insurgency. And restrictions were put in place by the Obama administration to keep the Nigerian government from getting arms. It slowed down the process to the point that the Nigerian government had to rely on private citizens and organizations who had private jets to fly into countries like South Africa to pick up weapons that they had to buy, I think, off the black market. So the restrictions that were put on us by the Obama administration escalated the problem. All right, so I can agree that Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Biden created this mess that we're seeing. Intergalactic Wrangler says, so sad. Nigerian allies need to step up and stop it. They can't see this as okay, right? I agree, but here's the problem. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. It's like the United States asking Canada for help, or the United States asking Mexico for help because you have an internal problem that your leaders have refused to fix. That's what we're seeing with Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest black nation in the world. The neighbors, none of the neighboring countries are as large or as rich as Nigeria is. So who's going to help Nigeria? The allies that Nigeria has that could help, possibly the United Kingdom, but Nigeria is bigger than the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is more influential, but Nigeria can't get help from the United Kingdom. The UK is going through its own issues. The US has its own problems, to be honest. So it is surprising that President Trump is actually taking notice and saying something about this. So that's where the problem is. The allies of Nigeria may not be able to help so much. But let me know more of your thoughts. Thank you, Intergalactic Wrangler, for putting up your comments. Please, if you're watching this channel for the first time, what we usually cover is news and politics from a more relaxed and calm demeanor. If you're seeing me animated today, is because my country of origin is going through a major crisis. And because I've seen it from when it started back in 2009 and how it's evolved and the lies that are being told about the whole situation, I get agitated. I don't cover Nigerian news because it hurts to talk about it. But usually it's more mellow and measured whenever I have these live streams. We live stream regularly, Mondays to Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern. So please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing the video. Please like the video if you're enjoying the way I'm going about this conversation and the way I'm engaging with you. If you enjoy this and you want to keep coming back for more, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon. Like the video, share the video. And if you want to come on the members only call-in section where you can join me on the live stream and discuss this by being a part of the stream, your video shows up or not, and we can talk about it while the show is going on. This is a members only feature, so you can do that by becoming a member. If you're interested, you can hit the join button if you're watching on the main YouTube channel, or you can reach out to me by simply leaving a chat and asking for instructions, and I'll tell you more on how to do that. Okay, so thanks Intergalactic for the chat. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. All right, Truth says, yes, she's responding to my question, because I asked if she's a woman. Yes, I'm a woman. I really don't follow politics. Why is she didn't complete her question, so I'll be waiting for you to complete the question. Bob Krensil says, on the YouTube side, says, the solution must be the Nigerian government, ECOWAS, and the African Union. Outsiders have always worsened situations like this in Africa. I agree. And you know what? I don't subscribe to violent action. I don't like violent action. I don't. But when you're dealing with terrorists, you need to respond with violence, and the government is the solution. But when the government has all the tools that they need, and yet they don't do what is meant to be done, what happens then? The Nigerian government has failed to take care of this problem. ECOWAS is controlled by Nigeria. ECOWAS is controlled by Nigeria. It's like the United States bringing the bulk of the donations to the UN. The UN can't essentially bully the United States because the United States is paying the bills of the UN, something like that. So ECOWAS can't help. The African Union can't help. African leaders have failed Africa. African leaders have failed Africa. So that's the problem we're facing here. What we're talking about, Bob, is the ideal situation. It's ideal that these governments, these institutions do their job, but they refuse to do their jobs. And that's where the problem is. That's where the problem lies. Outsiders have always worsened the situations like this in Africa. True. Because no one knows your people, no one knows your country like you do. But do you know what? Let's keep talking, because do you know what? It's really easy. It's easy for us to sit and try to advise the people in leadership, how to run things. But you know what? Sometimes leadership is common sense. If there's someone in a part of your country killing civilians because they worship differently from you, something is wrong, and the law has to be applied equally. Let me tell you something else. Okay, now, the reason why I have no faith in the Nigerian government handling this is that it's been discovered that the people, sometimes it's the Boko Haram terrorists that are killing the Christians. At other times, it is herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen. These are people of a certain tribe who are I'll call them migrant cattle rearers. Instead of having parks where they herd their cattle and feed them like we have here in North America, where there are ranches, what they have is they walk around the country with the cattle and they graze wherever they like. These herdsmen have been known to be armed with submachine guns. Who gives them the submachine guns when the Nigerian citizens don't have access to handguns? Who gives these people submachine guns? So the suspicion is that people in government arm these guys, and then they take their arms and then they attack people who try to accost them on their farms. The confusion is people think that this is a land dispute issue. It's not. When a large percentage, and I would say over 90% of the casualties are Christians. All right, so let's keep responding to the chat. All right, so Truth clarifies her question: why are the Christians being unalived in Nigeria? That's a good question. Why do Christians get murdered in other parts of the world? Why? Because the people who murder them are not tolerant of other faiths. So that's what's happening. There are accusations, and the accusations tend to line up with history. Historically, there have been pogroms in northern Nigeria where Muslims rushed to destroy businesses owned by Christians and people from a different tribe, the Igbo tribe. Those pogroms have happened since the 60s. They've always happened. Then there are also direct attacks on churches, where churches are burnt down and Christians are attacked. There are stories that confirm this. So don't take my word for it. Do your own research. And then you see that history tells us that it is largely a religious, the motives are religious in nature. Canary King, he should invade if he needs to. I don't want Trump to invade Nigeria. No, bad idea. Bad idea. It will turn out like Iraq and Afghanistan. If what Trump wants to do is to simply do targeted strikes at the encampments and the bases of Boko Haram, they know where these guys are. The satellites know where they are. If all they're doing is doing targeted strikes, I'm all for it. Not regime change. Regime change would be a disaster. It would keep America in Nigeria longer than it should, because to stabilize the country is going to be a problem. So no, I would say no. Now, let me know what you think of my position, because yes, I clearly want something to be done about the violent people who the government have refused to do anything about. But I don't want the United States to go in and make Nigeria to turn out to be another Afghanistan or Iraq. It's not going to be nice. And Afghanistan and Nigeria is not militant. It is not majority Muslim. It's not. The southern part of the country, the eastern and the southern parts, southwestern part of the country are largely Christian. Okay, I have a new subscriber just joined. Thank you so much for subscribing. I can't see the name properly, so I apologize. I would figure out how to make that show up. So I don't think it's going to turn out exactly, but it's not a good idea to kind of do a regime change. Okay. Again, Canary King says, this lady's video isn't accurate. Yes, it's not. She's trying to analyze she's comparing apples to pineapples. So that's what she's doing. You have the word apple in there, but it's not the same. So it's not accurate. And I think we heard enough from her breakdown. Yeah, please consider supporting the channel by joining the membership or by leaving a super chat. If you could, so if you help, it helps us keep the lights on, and subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps us. It encourages me and keeps me doing what I'm doing. If you enjoy, the nature of this conversation. If you like people that you can talk to while they are creating the content online, then you are at the right place. Trump never said he wanted to go to Afghanistan. That was Bush, who had a different agenda. Yep. I did say so. It's apples and oranges. It's well, I kind of like my take on it, apples and pineapples, because some people think if someone says a word, it means the same thing in a different context. No, it doesn't. Yeah. So truth. It's your government that is okay. Just kind of the comment is confusing. So please, I need you to kind of refine the answer, truth. Okay, allowing it. Okay, she completed it. It's your government that's allowing it. Yes, it is. The government is allowing the attacks on the Christians. They are. We've said it for a long time, but you know what? The citizens don't have any power to make any changes. If you go to the polling booths, it's rigged. You have hoodlums attacking you when you're trying to vote the candidate you want. Popular candidates are either attacked or assassinated. What do you do then? When you're attacked by people in the dead of night, you don't have the weapons to defend yourself with. Why? Because the government disarmed its people in the 70s. It's illegal for you to own firearms. Now they'll say, no, it's not illegal. You need a license. I don't know anyone who owns a license. I don't. And whenever they discover a gun in your possession, they seize it. So when you have a group of people who can't defend themselves, this is what you get. And that's why I am a huge Second Amendment advocate. Even though I don't live in the United States, I want the people to be able to defend themselves, because I've seen what happens when people can't defend themselves. Oh dear, this woman's video is so off point. It's confusing. Yeah, I had to stop the video. I had to stop the video. The woman is not an analyst. No, I had to stop the video at some point. Thank you for stopping this crazy video. All right, guys. Oh boy, she didn't get any new followers, or did she? Jeez, that woman's video was painful. Then again, Jonathan was sabotaged by Obama, Biden, and Hillary. They interfered with elections and removed Jonathan. Yeah, I talked about it there was a video I made leading up to the 2024 elections, and I mentioned how Obama interfered with Nigeria's elections. People ask me in the comments section why I talk about Nigeria and not Africa. Well, I say to them, because I know that if America is strong and moral, it is good for the world. I've seen an America that was strong and immoral, and what it did to Nigeria. Nigeria's economy was growing like crazy. Things were going well. Then Obama backed the other guy, and that guy destroyed our economy. So I could talk about this endlessly, but there's no point. I've talked about it before, and it's painful to continue to recount. Nigeria is not black, please. I do not understand Nigeria is not black. No, Nigeria is predominantly black country. So I'm trying to figure out what you mean by that. Please clarify your statement. All right. Daniel Onovo says, I want to join. All right. So, Daniel, there's a link. There's a link in the description of the live stream. When you scroll down, open the description, and you see a link that says join to become a member. When you click on that link, you become a member. Inside of the membership, you would have access to the instructions. It's a post. There's a post there that gives you the instructions on how to join this call. It's right there in the members section. So once you've joined and you've seen the link, if you don't see the link after you've joined, let me know. All right. So just let me know. All right. Intergalactic says, no problem. Thank you for bringing this to everyone's attention. Stay safe. I had someone at my church, a Caucasian guy, crying, talking to me about this going on in my own country. Look, I watch videos where random people say how racist white people are. And I'm like, you haven't met you haven't met the good ones, or maybe you've been brainwashed to believe that every white person you meet is racist. This is someone who has never been to Nigeria. He knows I'm Nigerian, and he watched these videos of mass graves and he's crying. Like, I'm like, wow, the people really care, you know? So I'm really grateful that you, Intergalactic Wrangler, you took the time to join the live stream and you left comments. Thank you so much. I hope you considered subscribing and being a part of the community. Thank you so much for your support. Please subscribe, like, share the video, and leave a comment, please. I'm loving the conversations we're having. I'm going to answer everyone's chat, so please be patient. I'm going through everyone's chat one by one. Canary says, those rigged politicians are not African leaders. They're agents and corrupt opportunists. Yes, they are. Another comment. Look, this is a religious war. This is a Muslim government who have an agenda, in case you're not aware of the full scope of the game plan. Canary King, we are aware. We are aware of what's going on. Christians in Nigeria have talked about this for years. For years. Tara says, the economy was thriving under Goodluck Jonathan. Yeah, so Boko Haram was a political tool used to take over government, in my opinion. I agree. A lot of Nigerians feel this way. A lot of Nigerians feel like Boko Haram was used in order to make the Jonathan government look bad and gave the other guy the momentum he needed to win the elections. Nigeria was the biggest economy in Africa under Jonathan. Today, it's struggling to be fourth on the continent. Thanks to Obama-Biden history. Remember, they unalived Gaddafi. Yes, they did. They did. Tara says, the Nigerian government is able to track down anyone who speaks against it, but unable to locate the hideouts of the terrorists. Like I said, I believe they know where the terrorists are. I believe. All right. Someone has a different take. El Ani says, we are obsessed with religion in Nigeria. Trump is hardly a Christian. He is more of a racist than a supporter of black Christians. They want to destroy our country. Okay, so now I'm going to push back. Okay, El Ani. Trump is a racist. What's the proof that he's racist? I played videos last week's Sunday and Monday showing how Trump supported black businesses in New York long before he became president. Everyone loved him. Then suddenly mainstream media says he's racist and everyone believes him after decades of supporting black businesses. I don't understand your premise that he is racist. So please come with receipts. Not what the mainstream media said he said, but come with receipts. Now, if Trump didn't say or do anything about what's going on in Nigeria, what would your solution be when the government is letting its own citizens, who happen to be Christians, get murdered in their beds, churches burnt down, and Christians burnt down? El Ani is saying, we are obsessed with religion in Nigeria. I would say, no, we are not. Now, this is a math problem. It's a math problem. When over 98% of the casualties in these attacks, and I would say 100%, but I'm being conservative, when 98% of these casualties are Christians, no Muslim casualties, the attacks take place in predominantly Christian communities, none in the Muslim communities. It's a math problem. It's not an obsession. It is math. So if we can count, if you have two eyes and a brain, you know what's going on. Nigeria is an African country. Black is a definition under the apartheid type. Yeah, okay, so fine. It's a Negro country, Canary King is Negro. All right, is Negro. Okay. All right, so you have black in USA, fine. It's an apartheid definition. Okay, let's just use the word Negro. Okay, just to appease the extreme color definitions. Okay, let's just calm down. Nigeria has an ethnic structure, not a color one. Yes, I agree. It does. All right, Elani, Christians are victims of the mess in Nigeria, but to believe that Trump is on your side is ludicrous. Nigeria is turning the corner, and Trump and the West are looking for a reason to mess up Nigeria. How is Nigeria turning the corner? These mass graves that we just looked at, these only happened several weeks ago. Some of them were days ago. How is Nigeria turning the corner on this when this is still going on? Nigeria has not taken any steps. They've gone on air to deny the fact that a genocide is happening within their borders. They are lying. I lived in Nigeria for years, so no one can get on this chat and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. That I no longer live in Nigeria doesn't erase the fact that I lived there for over 45 years. So I would like you to please clarify how you've arrived at the point that Nigeria is turning the corner. Economically, Nigeria's currency is really bad. So let's not come with the facts. Now, I agree that the West should be observed with suspicion because historically, when they get involved in situations like this, it doesn't end well. But my question is, what's the alternative to Nigeria, to this problem where Christians are being murdered in Nigeria? Let me know your thoughts, okay? Please, let me know your thoughts. Tara says, it's deeper than the eyes can see. The sponsors are in government. How do we explain the sophisticated weapons they have? Tara is Nigerian too. She knows what she's talking about. Canary King, Nigerians don't understand black, what it means for better, for worse. Okay, fine. Nigerians don't. El Ani, I appreciate your engagement in the chat. Please keep it coming. If I push back, it doesn't mean I don't want you to communicate. I'm just asking questions because I don't want us to be people who just throw out expletives and say, oh, this is what's going on as far as I'm concerned. No, let's have an intelligent conversation. Okay. Nigeria is only allowing Trump is only allowing white South Africans as refugees. So that's your reason for saying that he's racist. I don't think so. We can talk briefly. So let me just take a couple of minutes to explain. White South Africans have a culture that is more aligned with Caucasian or European American values. Let me just put it carefully. Those values were the values that were at the foundation of building the American society, the United States of America. All right. Bringing them in as immigrants is a net positive for America because these are farmers. They know how to work the land. And Trump can easily say, hey, guys, here's a piece of property in the United States, and you can own farms and produce food for America. They are coming with skills. To be a refugee doesn't necessarily mean that you come in and you become a burden to the state. Trump is looking at these guys and saying, if your country doesn't want you, we want you. Come in and farm and produce for America. We want you to come in here. All right. Now, if Trump were to turn around and say, okay, let's bring in some black people. What are the skills that the black people have? All right. So let's do the math. Now, that doesn't mean that now I said that I was going to do this for 2 minutes. I'm going to stop here. We can talk about that. Maybe if you want us to have that conversation on a different stream where we talk about why Trump isn't opening up the refugee status for black countries, we can talk about that and break it down. And you know what? Let's not take a partisan approach to this. Let's use our heads and calculate the odds. and talk about the principles and not talk about what people want us to think about someone. That's all I want to say about that. All right. So El Ani, I'm pushing back. It doesn't mean I don't want you to talk or share. All right. I want you to let me know your thoughts, and I'll push back. That's what conversations are. And I don't want us to devolve into name calling. No. I want us to just have real conversations. You may leave the live stream not agreeing with me. I may not agree with you, but I don't hate you. And I hope you don't hate me. Okay. All right. So let's go. El Ani, he has no blacks in his cabinet. Seriously? Seriously? I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. Now, anyone else in the chat who wants to kind of respond to his statement about Trump not having anyone black in his cabinet, please jump on it. All right. Go ahead and answer that question, because whenever we go down the racist tirade, it bothers me, because the question is, how is his cabinet doing? Are they doing a good job? Fantastic. Then if there's anyone who isn't on the cabinet, they were not needed. They were not. Having a black person on cabinet, hang on, where are all the black people? Where's the majority of most of the black people? They're on the Democrat side, guy. Okay, they're on the Democrat side. And most of the black people who make sense are in Congress. You have Byron Donalds. He's in Congress. And he's currently being backed by the Trump administration to run for governor of Florida. He backs black people all the time. They don't have to be in cabinets. They have other places that they can function, you know. So respond to him in the chat if you can. Intergalactic Wrangler, USA tends to declare regime change, whether it's right or wrong, and utilizes sneaky tactics. That is also true. So is this a sneaky tactic? Now, historically, with the first Trump administration, we haven't seen him do regime change. First administration. Second administration, we're 10 months in. We haven't really seen that happen. The first opportunity he had, which was with Iran, he did not take. People were freaking out saying that Trump is about to do regime change in Iran. He didn't do it. So let's see what happens this time around. I am giving you my thoughts, and I'm honestly trying to be as honest as possible. I'm trying. If I'm not doing a good job, let me know in the chat. But thank you, please. And if I love the engagement here, and this is possibly the best live stream I've had in a long time, because everyone is talking and everyone is giving very honest and very level-headed commentary. And I'm going to do my best to go through everyone's chat. So please stay with me and let's have this conversation. All right. Canary King says, this is the first time in Nigerian history where it was a Muslim ticket, which is very true. Which is very true. That's the Tinubu government. Faith Oladeji says, I essentially agree with your... Now, Faith is a Nigerian. I know the name, the surname is... He's Nigerian. I essentially agree with your analysis. I don't want Nigeria to be invaded. However, this problem has persisted for over 15 years, and the government seems incapable. Not that they are really incapable. They seem incapable, but not that they are really... They know how to flex power when it works for them. That's what Faith is saying. Remember, he's Nigerian. We've lived through it. We know these people. Okay? Canary King, thank you, Faith, for that commentary. Thank you so much. Nigeria isn't turning any corner except into deeper poverty. Yep, I said it. And honestly, I wish it were different. Annie says, Dangote is stabilizing our energy sector and our economy is about to take off. I don't like Tinubu or APC, but things are starting to settle. Yeah, but that's on the economic side. All right. And that's amazing. And that's why I said, I don't want a regime change. If it's a targeted strike against Boko Haram because of the attacks they're having on Christians, that's one thing. But I also mentioned that there is the situation with the Fulani cattle rearers, the herdsmen. That's also another angle, that if all the United States is going to do is attack Boko Haram, that's one part. The herdsmen are also a part of the problem. So we need to talk about that as well, because if the United States does a targeted strike against Boko Haram and these killings continue, the question would be, so what did Trump do? We're trying to break down this issue so that everyone knows the layered complexity of this problem. Canary King, Nigeria under the Buhari administration became the global center of poverty. Yep. I'm going to hold back on telling you my own horror stories. They borrowed so much, it would take 5 generations to get out from under the crushing debt. That is true. Annie says, Trump doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about Americans either. Annie, let's talk about... See, I've tried my best to kind of stay within policies and actions. Okay, so what has Trump done what actions has Trump taken that shows he doesn't care about Americans? What action has he taken to show he doesn't care about Africans? Let me know in the chat. All right. And the white South Africans are Africans too. The white South Africans are Africans too. They were born in Africa. Some of them they are like 5 generations in Africa. They don't identify as Dutch or German. They are South African. So let's not kind of throw out these blanket statements. Let's kind of finesse and be intelligent about our conversations. All right. Thank you, guys. Look, guys, keep the chats coming. I promise that I'll go through the chat and we'll have a conversation on this matter. Now, I'm still waiting for something concrete on the solution. Okay, so let's just say the United States doesn't come in to save the Christians in Nigeria. Do you have a concept of a plan that could work? Let's know in the chat. Faith says, but because they subtly benefit from the chaos, they really don't have the incentives to solve it until now that their power is effectively being threatened by Trump. Let's see if they do something about it, because the problem is when you spent years operating in mediocrity and you have 5 days to solve a problem that you don't know how to solve and that you've in essence created and enshrined by your inactivity, can you solve the problem in 5 days? So even if they say, let's protect our power, let's do something, do they know what to do? Can they get it done before Trump decides to take action? Let me know in the chat. Canary King, Crossroads, no, your analysis of South Africa isn't quite on point. Okay, so let me know what I missed. Let me know what I missed. Okay, yeah, it was Moscow. Okay, fine. I'm gonna get there. Elani says, you lost me on Afrikaners. These are poor whites of South Africa. They are not refugees either. I'm trying to understand that. I lost you on Afrikaners. Well, what Trump did say was that he was opening refugee status to white farmers who are being murdered. He was talking specifically of the white farmers. The white farmers. So that's why I said what I said, if you're referring to my statement on him bringing in people who are white. Canary King, it was Musk that influenced Trump on the issue of bringing in the white. Just like Rubio is influencing him with Cuba and Venezuela. Yeah, you've mentioned that, and we're keeping our eye on that conversation on Rubio. El Ani, we must elevate our debate. Trump is in. Oh, come on, dude. You're still going down that road. Trump is a narcissist who doesn't give a hoot. Why do you think so? You look. Let's look at actions and policies. Tell me he's a narcissist because tell me what he did. He's a racist because tell me what he did. We come with receipts. Don't say he's a narcissist. And then there's Jamie. Sorry, my youngest. Yeah, look. All right, good boy. Good job. Sorry about that. My youngest. I'm a dad. What can I say? All right. We must elevate our debate. I agree, but El Ani, let's talk about ideas and actions. Okay, not names that someone called him. Therefore, he is that. Let's not do that. Canary King. That's one of Trump's weaknesses. People can take him off his agenda and influence him on their agenda. Okay, noted. Intergalactic Wrangler. The problem with so many immigrants is adopting the culture of the state or country you move to. And Intergalactic Wrangler, I agree. If you are leaving your country and moving to a new country because your country of origin wasn't helping you, why would you try to change the country that has adopted you into the country you left? I don't know if I said that properly. That's the problem I have with a lot of the stuff I see immigrants doing all over the world. Adopt the culture of the state you moved to. Don't try to change it into the place you came from. My wife, when we moved here, complained about the food. And I said to her, I didn't leave Nigeria to come here looking for Nigerian food. Let's figure out how to survive here with the food that they do have. I said that to her for years. And yes, it is difficult to integrate. It is hard, but you have to do the work. Right? You have to do the work. So immigrants, integrate into the country you moved to. Stephen Fadeyi, another Nigerian in the chat, says, El Ani lives in northern Nigeria before you take that inconsiderate stand. It is not an inconsiderate stand. Remember, I lived in Nigeria. I am recognizing Nigerians in the chat. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. What inconsiderate stand did I take? All right, so explain the inconsiderate stand I took on the things he said. I am asking, tell me what you mean when you call Trump a racist, because he brought that into the conversation. Tell me what you mean when you say Trump is a narcissist. What inconsiderate stand did I take? It's weird when you get these things said, but I don't know. It happens because it's live chat, all right? Laughing out loud. What about Turner, the HUD secretary? Okay, I think Faith is saying that this is a black person on Trump's cabinet. All right, so there are people in his cabinet who, look, I don't like talking race. Just like in Nigeria, I didn't like talking tribe. I don't like tribalism. I don't like racism. I like policy. I like actions. I like people doing what they should do. So when I start talking about race, I get demotivated because I know that we're having a very emotional conversation at that point. Let me know if you're enjoying this engagement by liking the video and sharing the video and subscribing. We may not agree on everything, but if you like the engagement that we're having here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video, share the video. Consider sending us a super chat to support the channel and keep the lights on. And if you want to join the call-in feature, please consider joining the membership and then using the call-in feature. I'm looking I'm waiting to see if anyone has called in. No one yet. So please consider joining the membership. The link is in the members section. You see it there in the most recent community post. You can use that to join, and then we can have a conversation. But the idea is that the conversations have to be cordial. They have to be polite, no profanity, easygoing, no voices raised. We just want to have a nice, normal conversation about these things. Okay. Let's see. We should stop going to another man's land and shouting racism when we are worse to each other in Nigeria. Stephen, thank you. I've been saying this in other videos, but I didn't say it the way Stephen said it, because I've always said that Black people are the most racist people you will ever meet. And what I mean by that is that tribalism is just racism, but racism against another tribe. That's what it is. And when it goes outside of that race, they become racist against people of a different color. And Stephen is putting it succinctly. So guys, if you're from North America and you've been hearing me say this, that is proof that what I said was right. Okay, so Stephen, thank you so much for putting that out there. Thank you so much. I hope you subscribed. I hope you did. I want more people like him subscribing to my channel. Canary King, please. The economy isn't turning a corner. Responding to El Ani. How can a big country like Nigeria not be the biggest economy? They went backwards. Look at the dollar to naira exchange rate. Please, let's be truthful. Canary King, thank you. I held back from saying that because I knew it was going to take more time. I want to focus on your comments. Look, I'm a global economist. I can unequivocally tell you that the Nigerian economy is a sad case. So turning the corner with Dangote's investments and so on, well, fine. An economy is not measured based on the strength of one company in the entire country. If one company is doing all the work to lift the Nigerian economy, like it was mentioned, Dangote is building this and building the other thing, it's a bad sign. That's a monopoly right there. And historically, it's bad for any country to have one company doing most of the work. If the economy is not designed to help other businesses, small businesses, lift up the country as a whole, there's a problem there. Thank you, Canary King, for that. Canary King says Faith's comments are correct, though he's being very diplomatic. Right? Yeah, so correct. Intergalactic Wrangler. I hope you've subscribed, Intergalactic Wrangler. I hope you have. I want more of you to keep coming back for our future live streams. Trump, food stamp situation is because of the Democrats not signing the clean CR. Trump, Monday with lawyers will fix it with a bit of luck. Hopefully they will fix that situation. Intergalactic Wrangler, I've seen images of the wooden headstones along the road of all the dead people. So, and that's talking about the, is that South Africa? I think that's South Africa, where the South African farmers are being murdered and the headstones made of wood are along the roads. Yeah, we've seen that. And somehow I choose not to talk about what's going on in other countries, South Africa, Nigeria especially, and even the United Kingdom and Europe. Maybe we could talk about that, because if we don't learn from what's going on in other countries, it might happen here in North America. So maybe let me know in the chat if you want me to start talking about those issues, because I'm curious what you think. I've stayed respectful. I know that my audience is mostly from the United States, and I want to stay respectful to my audience. But if you want me to also bring in a smatter of other news from other places that is relevant to what's going on in the United States, please let me know. Intergalactic Wrangler says, laugh out loud, food conflicts. Okay, I'm not sure the context of that or the reference, so maybe let me know. Mohammed Abubakar says, African in South Africa. So he's in South Africa. African in South Africa has given opportunity to move to America. And when they go to America, they could not live. They have to go back to South Africa shamelessly. All right. So the question is, see, so let me explain the comment because it's not very clear grammatically. An African from South Africa was given the opportunity to move to America. And when they go to America, they can't live there and they move back to South Africa. Why? Why did they move back? Okay, you need to hear the whole story from them and understand what happened, and they have to be telling you the truth. There are people who can't live in the United States. For example, when given the opportunity to choose, I would choose to move to, well, let me put it honestly. My wife and I, years ago, were asking ourselves, where should we plan to move to? We wanted to give our kids the opportunity to live in a country that didn't kill them because they did a protest. So we said, okay, where should we go? And she said, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada. And I said, Canada. And you ask why? Because the US, I have some issues with the US, okay, for now. So I feel like Canada was the best bet, not the UK. Okay, so I do understand when people decide that they don't want to live in the US. I do. But it doesn't mean that it's an evil place or a bad place. People have their preferences. Okay, so this doesn't justify. I'm not going to say whoever Muhammad Abubakar is referring to, is a bad guy, can't live in an organized society. I'm not going to say that. And I'm not going to say America is such an evil place that people run back to their countries. No. We need to understand what's going on. And there are people who choose not to live there. It doesn't mean that it's a horrible place, okay? Stephen is talking about El Ani, not you, Cross. I know. Well, okay. I'm missing the references now because I'm reading the chats after the fact. All right. I'll take that comment. So if I did misrepresent El Ani, okay, Stephen, was that the person who I was saying, okay, I'll take this comment as is. I want to apologize if I mischaracterized anyone's chat. If Stephen, if I mischaracterized your chat, like Canary King said, please forgive me. I didn't mean to. I'm trying to catch up with the chat after the fact. There's so much to go through. And guys, I'm enjoying this. Keep the chats coming. I love talking with you guys. I do. I honestly do. Let me know if you're enjoying this conversation on this Sunday evening for me and afternoon for a bunch of you. All right, so just let me know. Intergalactic Wrangler says, yes, Trump has 3 black cabinet members. So, Trump has 3 black cabinet members. I guess he's not racist. I guess so. Canary King says, leave race for another time. Let's stay focused on facts. Totally agree. Get the likes up. Thank you, Canary King. Everyone, please like the video. And if you've already liked the video, use the emojis in the chat. Look, share the video. Help me grow the channel. All right. I want to get the channel to 20,000 subscribers. We're currently over 10,000 subscribers. Help us out by sharing the video, liking the video, subscribing. Give a super chat, super thank. I mean, just support the channel any way you can. Okay, it's not required, but it helps out a whole lot. If you like the kind of content we're creating, if you like the way the conversations are going, you don't feel guilt-tripped or you don't feel insulted, you don't feel attacked, you're having a nice, calm conversation on politics, and you like this atmosphere, then you belong. Please subscribe, okay? And consider supporting us in the other ways I've mentioned. Faith Oladeji says this: I can assure you that Nigeria has a very robust security and intelligence architecture for internal security. Actually, it's for protecting the people in power. Because I have stories. I have one story. Maybe I'll tell it at another time. There is a robust architecture in place, but it is mainly in use for the people in power. It's very sad. All right. Maybe I'll tell you of one time when the law enforcement, one arm of the law enforcement agencies kidnapped me. They kidnapped me. It wasn't an arrest. They kidnapped me. And it took someone with connections with another arm of the law enforcement agencies to track me down at the location where the other arm had me kidnapped. I mean, it's a very interesting story. So if you want to hear that story, let me know. We can have a live stream just on that story, just to let you know what goes on in a third world country. So if you're interested, just let me know in the chat. Yeah, so if it's external, if it is existential for them to take action, believe me, they will, and it will be swift. Let's see, Faith. Let's see if they do what they need to do. Stephen is making some strong points. Yep, he is. Crossroads, black people, Connecticut is saying, black people, don't you mean African people? African people. African people, Connecticut. Connecticut gives me a hard time. Intergalactic Wrangler, kidding. Okay. What were you kidding about? Did you tell me something that I agreed to and now you're telling me you're kidding? Intergalactic Wrangler, yes, maybe I asked the question and he said yes, so I guess so. All right, South Africa, that's intergalactic. Okay, so I'm going to go through the comments. Guys, let me know if you're enjoying this conversation. Intergalactic Wrangler, is Australia still safe? Okay, so one of our viewers from Australia, I don't think he's on right now. He's very early in Australia right now, so he's not on. But maybe he'll let us know on a different live stream how Australia is. Okay, so if Tony is online, maybe you can let us know how Australia is. Is Australia still safe? Intergalactic Wrangler, I love my USA. Make America great again. Most people are good. Yes, I agree. Make America great again. If I say MAGA, does it mean I hate the rest of the world? It doesn't. It means that I believe in what the American Constitution stands for, what the spirit of America stands for, and how other countries can learn from it to make their own countries great. If my country or the leadership was doing what it should be doing, we wouldn't have the flood of immigrants that we have to other countries today. That's a fact. Trump getting involved. Oh, sorry, I haven't put it up on the screen. Sorry, Faith. Faith says Trump getting involved is giving them the right motivation to take action because the alternative would be grossly unwise. Oh, and they know how Trump, and they know Trump is not messing around. That's true. And that's why most of these countries don't like Trump. They know that when Trump says something, he is going to do it. Intergalactic Wrangler says about 4 minutes delay. Okay, so there's a 4-minute delay between when you post and when I get to your post. Yeah, well, I am reading through each person's post, so I'm going to try. Canary King says MAGA. Yep. Yes. I shared to my sister, but she's mad at me. Look, thank you for sharing with your sister. Thank you. To be honest, not everyone will like what we're saying here. I have family members in Virginia and in New York who don't like Trump. I'm talking about brothers, okay? I'm talking about my brothers. So I can understand. Not everyone would see things the way we do, but we hope that someday they will. Canary King says, why is she mad? All right, Nigeria is a neo-colonial state and it's complicated. Yes, it is. A lot of us feel like the Nigerian, that the independence that Nigeria got is a farce, that we're not truly independent. A lot of us feel that way. Intergalactic Wrangler, oh my God, sorry they kidnapped you. Tell us. All right. All right. Intergalactic Wrangler wants me to tell you the story of when they kidnapped me. Now I'm looking at the chat. I want 4 yeses if you want me to tell this story, because I don't, because if I start telling a story, because I'm going to hold off at this comment, and then I'm looking at the live feed of the chat, I want at least 4 yeses. And well, that's a low bar. I should have said 10, but let's say 4 yeses if you want me to tell the story of when I got kidnapped and how they found me and the technology that was used to find me. All right. Because they tell you that they don't have the means, but they do. And they use it for high profile kidnappings and different things. They only use it for people that matter. The average Nigerian doesn't matter. They don't. That's why when Americans do what they do on the streets, and I'm like, you guys, your country serves you. The people who you elect at least try to cater to you. I have 1 yes. I have 1 yes. And I could say that the yes is coming from the same person who's asking. So maybe it doesn't count. So I'm still looking for 4 yeses. So Intergalactic Wrangler says yes, but it doesn't count because I want 4 other people to say yes. Honeypot. Nah. Yeah, because I really want everyone to want to hear this. I do. It's quite the story. It's quite the story. But I want everyone to buy in, or at least 5 of you to buy in. So I tell the story just to confirm what has been said on this live stream. I rarely get Nigerians to join the live stream, but because this live stream is talking about Nigeria, a bunch of people from Nigeria have tuned in and they are engaging, and several have confirmed things that I've said. And one person has triggered a story. This happened in 2014 to me. I would love to tell you the story. Happened in 2014 to me. I still only have 1 yes. Guys, did everyone go to bed? Come on, guys. You're making the live stream boring now. I'm going to keep going. Once I see 4 yeses, I'm going to tell you my story. All right? Because the live stream is just all over the place. So as soon as I see 4 more yeses, I'll tell you the story. So Intergalactic Wrangler, I know you want to hear the story. I would want to tell the story. I'm waiting for everyone else to say yes. All right. 4 more people. And then I'm going to tell you the story of how I got kidnapped by law enforcement. And it took a different arm of the law enforcement to track me down and then get the other guys to own up to the fact that they had me. It was weird. Okay. What were you doing to get kidnapped by the state? Oh, come on. Yes. I do give you a hard time. Yeah. You do, but I love it. And you know what? I want all of you to give me a hard time. I want you guys to kind of pile on, because you know what? I could be talking out of my behind. I could. I'm glad that other Nigerians they are in the stream. If I say anything that is off point, they'll call me out. But you know what? I always say, look, come with your facts. I've lived in Nigeria for over 40 years, 45 years before I moved. I have stories. Faith says, by the way, I wouldn't advise our president to do the Oval Office meeting. He will get eviscerated. It will be dramatic at best or disgracefully humiliating, because it would be for the whole world to see. Yeah, it would. Faith says, great job you're doing, brother. Keep it up. How can I be a member and part of this? Okay, so Faith, Faith, let me confirm that you see the link. There's a link in the video description that says become a member or join the membership. So click on the link. It will take you to the membership pop-up, and then you can choose the membership cadre. You can choose the lowest tier, okay, because you're kicking the tires. You're seeing if there's value to the membership, and then you can join. We have members only content. I am planning a members, live stream that will be going on every week, once a week. I'm planning that so that we can literally have these hangouts where we talk about anything. It's going to be a choose your own adventure kind of thing where we're like, okay, we're here together. What's in the news? What can we talk about? And we will just go hard and talk about these things. All right. So let me know if you're having any trouble joining the membership, and then I would help you out. But I think it's relatively easy. So Faith, let me know if you're going to have any issues. If you're struggling, let me know, and then I'll just give you some pointers. Intergalactic is still. I'm still looking out for. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling downwards. Okay, Intergalactic said honeypot. I'm not sure what that is, but if you're referring to me asking for 4 more people to kind of say yes to me telling this story, well, I guess. Canary King, keep your momentum. Don't pause. Keep going. Okay, I'm doing that. If I smell bullish, I'll tell you. Yes, please. Please. The most important thing, I believe, is to tell the truth. If you lie, you're going to have to tell 50 more lies to cover up the first lie. So I'm going to tell you the truth as I see it. If I miss it, fact-checked, everything is going the other way, I will own up to it and say, this is wrong. This is the way it is. Okay, I'm going to promise you that. I will do my best to tell you the truth, even if it makes me look bad. Honestly. Faith, can you imagine your president in the Oval? Oh, no. It's, Canary King, it's painful to imagine. It is painful to imagine. All right. If in Trump's first term, he hosted Buhari, he was horrified. Yes. And we were all experiencing secondhand embarrassment. We did. At least Zelensky could fight back. Imagine the Nigerian president in the Oval Office. Okay, so I'm at the end of the chats. No more chats coming in. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a bonus. I'm going to simply tell you the story of when I got kidnapped, and then if we don't have more chats or questions, then we'll call it a day. The live stream usually goes for about an hour, but you guys have made it so lively with your comments, and I usually promise to go through the chats. And I think I've done my best. I've gotten to the end of the chats, and I'm so glad that we were able to do this. So if you still have more comments, let me know. Now, let me tell you the story. All right. So so there's an arm of law enforcement. Yeah. So there's an arm. Okay. There's a second yes, but I already decided to go ahead and tell the story. All right. Since there's no more comments. All right. So there's an arm of law enforcement called the ICPC. All right. The ICPC is responsible for not financial fraud, but fraud in general. All right. Criminal and corrupt practices and so on. So that is their job. Then there's the Nigerian police. The Nigerian police is like the blanket organization for law enforcement, but they are seen as more or less like the regular tier law enforcement. So the ICPC had a case on someone that I had worked with at an old company. And that person and I kept in touch. And so I get this call from him the night before, and he says to me, I have a client who wants an e-commerce website. Right. So my background is technology, and I built e-commerce websites for businesses. And he says to me, do you still do e-commerce website? I said, yes. He says, well, he has a client. He'll give me her number. And he's out of town and can't meet her, but he will be willing to hand over this prospect to me to work with. I said, okay, fine. He gives me the number. I call. The lady says to me, not interested. Then she ends the call, then calls back and says, okay, I'm interested. Meet me at this location. It's a hotel. So the next day, I go to the hotel, sit. They asked me if I wanted some water. I said, yeah, I got some water. And then a few moments after I got the water, I saw an armed uniformed personnel walking into the restaurant where I was sitting. It was a hotel. I was in the restaurant of the hotel. Armed, uniformed people walked up to me, grabbed my bag, grabbed me, grabbed my phones, and said, "You're under arrest." And I said, "For what?" They said, "You're under arrest. Don't question it." They put me in a van and took me to their office, their ICPC office. Now, all this time, all my wife knew, and my wife worked at an energy company. I'm not going to call the company because certain people who work there might still work there, and I don't want this whole thing to become a thing. So she worked at an energy company, and she expected me to be home when she got back home. She got home, and I wasn't home. At this point, I got arrested at 10 in the morning. She got home at 6 p.m. and her husband wasn't home. She began to call my phone. I didn't answer, and she went nuts. She called the Nigerian police. Going back to what I said earlier, that they have tools that can trace all of these people that are committing crimes. They don't use them for regular Nigerians. They use them for elites, for the elite or for the wealthy. She called the Nigerian police. They refused to help her over the phone. Then she did not sleep the entire night. Then by 5 a.m. the next morning, she went over to one of the police stations that is basically the most equipped police stations in Ikoyi, because she knew I was going to a meeting in Ikoyi, a part of Lagos where wealthy people live. So she went there and they refused to attend to her. And one of the people at the desk told her to pay 5,000 naira to allow them fuel one of their vehicles. Those of you who live in North America, listen very carefully. To fuel one of their vehicles in order for them to begin to even attempt to help her. She gave them 5,000 naira, and then she stood outside of the police station waiting for them to get back to her. She didn't leave, and she stood there for hours. By this time, she had called her office to tell her office that her husband was missing and she needed help to locate me. A few hours later, someone at the office connected her with the head of security of the office. Now, in most of these large companies, the heads of security are usually ex-law enforcement, and they usually are people who are like higher up in law enforcement. So, excuse me. So she calls him. He refuses to help because he says it's very likely that I was cheating on her and that I had gone off with another woman, that she should give me a few days, that once I'm tired spending time with the other woman, I'll come home, that they've seen this before. And she says to them, my husband isn't like that. You need to help me. My husband has disappeared. They didn't do anything until someone in the office ripped the head of security a new one. And then he decided to drive down to her location and take things into his own hands. You know what? He got there. He got one of the commissioners of police involved. They got the police officer who took 5,000 bucks from my wife to return it. And then they drove my wife to a location that had screens and panels and different gear that you wouldn't believe existed in Nigeria. They were able to use the state-of-the-art equipment to trace my phone and to trace it they traced the last call, traced the person who called me, and then they put out a citywide announcement describing me, where I was last seen, and that announcement hit the radios at the location where I was being held. The guys who kidnapped me panicked. Now, they would call it an arrest. It was a kidnapping because one, they didn't have a warrant. Two, they were trying to entrap me. At the point where the radio announcement hit them, they pulled me out of the cell. Remember, I was in a cell from 10 a.m. the previous day. At about 4 p.m. the next day, they pulled me out of the cell and tried to get me to incriminate myself, telling me that I had committed some crime, that I should really tell them that they know they've got the records. I said, I haven't committed any crime. They wanted a reason why they had pulled me off the streets and put me in a cell. When they couldn't succeed at doing that, they put me back in the cell, figured out a way to lie about the situation. Eventually, they found me the next day, came and got me out. They wanted to keep me for 3 more days in the cell because it was the weekend. But my friend who is a notary came and ripped all of them a new one, and they let me go. So what he said is actually true. There's equipment that can be used to help the average Nigerian. They don't use these things unless it is someone really important, or unless someone really important is involved. That's the state of countries like Nigeria. And so when he says, I think it's Faith who said that, or Stephen, he says, look, they have the equipment, they know where these people are, they refuse to use them. It's true. All right, so that's my story. I hope it was because I had to cut it as short as possible. I wanted to tell you the story without drawing it out, but I hope it's as exciting as I made it sound. Okay. Intergalactic Wrangler says, wow, they said you said you was cheating. That's messed up. Yes, they did. They did. They did. Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah. All right, guys. Now it's been nice having you. Now, if you want to have more of this, if you want to be part of the future live streams where we can actually have exchanges like this, please consider joining the membership, subscribing to the channel, like the video, help support the video, support the channel. But if you want to keep coming back, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Now, I would love for you to keep an eye out for notifications, because sometimes I go live and people don't see the notifications. So figure out a way to stay in touch. Hit the bell icon. But if you want to support the channel, consider joining the membership. Now, for those of you who tried joining the membership, let me know if you had any issues joining. If you're in, type "I'm in" the chat, so I know you succeeded in signing up for the membership. If you have any struggles, I could stay online for a couple of minutes to kind of help you out, okay, if you're having any issues. But please consider supporting us. If you can't support us with a membership, which is like a subscription, then consider sending us a super chat, just to keep the lights on. It's just I have to ask because if a few of us don't know that it's a thing, so I have to just put it out there. All right, so what happened to the friend that got me into it? All right, so it turns out that my friend knew that he was being investigated. I don't know exactly what he got himself into, but he was being investigated, and he was laying low. So he was in town. He didn't want to go for the meeting. And then I wouldn't say it was a setup. I would say he was avoiding getting arrested. He was avoiding being in public. But what then did happen was the night before or the morning I was released, the guys at the ICPC set up a sting operation. All right. It's not as sexy as what you see in the movies. What they basically did was they knew where he lived, and then they decided to raid his home in the early hours of the morning. So maybe they got there at about 3 or 4 in the morning, barged into his home. He happened to be home, and then they arrested him. My question is, why didn't they do this in the first place? Why did they have to do the whole cloak and dagger thing and then get me roped into it? But you know the part that pissed me off even more? They arrested him. Then one of the people who arrested me came to my cell. I was the only one in the cell. Came to my cell and had this big grin on his face, and he's like, "We got him. Do you want to see him? Do you want to see him?" I'm like, no, I want to be let go. He's like, "Well, don't worry." And then, do you know what? They left me in the cell and put him in a vehicle, and they drove off to Abuja. That was about an 8 or 13-hour drive. They left me in the cell. They put me in a cell, found the person that they wanted, left me in the cell, and took off, because I was no longer their problem. I was the problem of the director of the ICPC office. And if it wasn't for my friend who was a notary ripping them a new one, I would have remained in cell potentially for a few more days. If my wife didn't know where I was, possibly they could have figured out a way to rope me into the entire thing. That's law enforcement in Nigeria, guys. So no, I don't think it was a setup, you know. I doubt if it was an innocent mix-up. It wasn't. I don't think so. Intergalactic Wrangler says, "Thank you. Stay safe, guys." Thank you so much, Intergalactic Wrangler. You've been awesome. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. We've had, this has been fun. I hope we can do this again. Tomorrow, we're going to be live again at 12 noon Eastern. If you can make it, please join us for that live stream. We'll be covering the developing news of the day, and I hope that you will lend your thoughts and your voice to our conversations. If you have any challenges, if you have any challenges joining the membership, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up, one second. I'm going to put up my email address, so you can send me an email. All right, I'm going to put up my email address. So send me an email. Let me see. I can't see the email. All right, I'm trying to put up the email address. I don't know if it's showing up on the screen. Okay, so send me. I think I have to pull down the chat. Okay, yeah. So send me an email to this email address on the screen, and let me know whatever issues you're having with joining the membership. Then, if you have stories that you love for me to cover in tomorrow's live stream, you can send them to this email address. Let's talk about stories that matter to you. And remember, most of the audience, my audience is primarily North American and mostly from the United States. So please consider that if you send a story that doesn't resonate with most of the audience, I need you to understand that it is because of the demographic and the location that most of my audience reside in. I want to honor and respect my audience, and so I try to give you the best that I can. Thank you so much. Canary King says that's some real third world ish. Yes, it is. It is. There are many stories I could tell. I could tell you another story at another time. What happened in the weeks before I moved my family to Canada. It is crazy. There's more. And there are other people who have gone through worse. There are more people who have gone through worse. Google End SARS. End SARS. There are stories of people who aren't alive to tell the story. Sorry you had to go through it. Thank you so much, Canary King. Guys, thank you so much. You guys have made my day. Thank you for the love and the care you have for Nigeria. For the Nigerians who joined the stream, thank you for coming on and lending your voice. We need to tell our story. We need to be able to give the facts. Pray for Nigeria if you do pray. Support whatever is going on. And hey, send me an email if you want to hear more or learn more. I could send you more links and stuff if you want. But let's keep praying for Nigeria. So guys, for the moderators, Canary King and Tara, thank you so much for for keeping the chat going. For all of our commentators, I'm going to do a roll call. Intergalactic Wrangler, Canary Kin. I'm going to just do a roll call. Just today, just honor you guys. Faith Oladeji. I'm just going to call out everyone who basically contributed. Mohammed, I can't see the last bit, but Mohammed, thank you so much for your bit, for your contribution. Let me see. Stephen Fadehi, thank you so much. El Annie, remember El, I wasn't pushing back because I don't like you. We just want more information. We just want more information so that we can give the facts. So El Annie, thank you so much for being a part of this. Tara, thank you for being a part of the live stream and holding down the mod. And Daniel, thank you for being a part, for jumping into the chat. Truth, thank you for jumping into the chat. I appreciate your take on things. Bob Krenzel, thank you for your take. Yeah, I think that's everyone. So thank you again. Thank you for your support. Subscribe, like, share, donate to the channel using the donate link. Join the membership. Support us that way. We're going to be back tomorrow once again by 12 noon Eastern. And I hope you will join us. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. You'll get the notification once we go live. And you can listen in the background if you're working, okay? But go ahead and be a part of it. Canary King says, have a wonderful day to everyone and to you too. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, God bless you.